2023 is over and a new year has begun. You probably have a whole list of New Year's resolutions, such as going to the gym and shrinking that inner tube, which has gotten more enormous thanks to all the Christmas cooking you shoved down your pie hole. And you probably swore to treat your family and friends a lot better. Well, you can add one more New Year's resolution to your list. Hi, SA here, and when I'm not sounding like a complete knucklehead on the computer, I'm also a published author, and I have a deal for you. Remember to get your copy of Glitch, a precarious duo, and its sequel, Glitch, The Future is Unwritten. You can get them on either Kindle or paperback. Both are available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other fine bookstores. The links are down below in the description. You will enjoy this crime thriller tale of a kidnapped teen model and a reluctant jewel thief who are on the run from the law while on the treadmill at the gym. And I'm not just some one-hit wonder either. I have more books coming down the pike, so as long as I don't die in my sleep. Stuart? Stuart? You'll see those other books too. Now let's get back to the video. Hello there. SA again. Way back when I was a wee young pup, little kid, I discovered Star Trek. Captain Kirk, Bones McCoy, Mr. Spock, and all the boys in the band. And I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was entertaining. And then I later saw the Star Trek animated series. Yeah, watched it briefly in reruns. It was okay. It was passable entertainment. And then I discovered, and then they started making the movies, with the original cast. And I watched all those films. First one, I thought it was pretty good. Some critics don't like it. And then of course you had Wrath of Khan, pretty good. Yeah. And then they had Search for Spock. And then The Voyage Home, yeah. And then of course they had The Final Frontier, The Undiscovered Country, really good. I did like that one. And then they had Generations, and then at that point they morphed into the Next Generation, with Jean-Luc Picard. And I watched those too. Yeah, First Contact, real good. I like that one. But then Insurrection, not so much. And oh my God, Nemesis, totally disposable. And as for the Next Generation shows, I like them. I watched them all. I watched Next Generation. I watched Deep Space Nine, Voyager. I even watched the one prequel film with Scott Bakula, Enterprise. I like that. And then the wokesters got a hold of Star Trek. And then you came out with Michael at the Star Trek Discovery. And Michael's not a dude, Michael's a woman. Or maybe Michael is a woman who identifies as a dude. That's why the woman's name is Michael, as opposed to Michelle. And then, of course, they had Picard. And then, of course, Strange New Worlds. All woke, all dumb. And then you say, wait a second, what about the Star Trek, was it Kelvin Universe films? Not good. Not good. Nah, because I actually wasn't going to watch those movies, but then I remember seeing a bunch of reviews saying, "Oh, the movie's good, movie's good, movie's good." So really, so I tuned in and watched it. Man, talk about getting getting a weed stuck up your ass and getting pissed on your head and being told it's raining. I mean, that first one wasn't good, and then of course was it In Darkness wasn't any better. I mean, good grief, it was just a cut and paste wannabe remake of the Wrath of Khan. And then of course Star Trek Beyond. Yeah, yeah. But this video is not about Star Trek, okay? This video is actually about Star Wars. So then you said, why did I have that damn rant about Star Trek? I'm getting to that part, okay? Now, I'm probably one of the first people who saw the original Star Wars and is willing to admit it. Yeah, I was a teenager at the time, and me, my brother, my father, and my sister went to see it at the Vermont Drive-In Theater. And I liked it. It was good. And me and my father got into an argument on the way back home about who was in the suit. My father said, "I tell you, Steve, there's a black man in that suit." And I said, "How can you tell? You can't see his face." And he said, "I tell you, Steve, it's a black man in that suit." And he was adamant about it. And then sure enough, we found out the truth. The guy in the suit was David Prowse, English guy, a white English guy. But he was a bodybuilder, big dude. Guy was like, I think he was like 6'5", I think he was 6'5", weighed about damn near 300 pounds, big guy. But of course, we all know who the voice was. Yeah, Mr. Jones. So my father was half right. And the three original films, excellent, awesome. I got them on disc. Yeah. And then of course Lucas, he played a little fancy dance with the Redux versions that came out in the 90s. You know, just before the prequel films. Remember we add a bunch of CGI to them that wasn't there before. Did it improve the story? Not really. Even though there was that one scene with Jabba the Hutt that we didn't see before. And Jabba the Hutt was really supposed to be a human actor. But of course, I guess that scene, I think you probably remember that scene that was added, at the, what was it, Mos Eisley station, whatever scene? Yeah, well, I think if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about, yeah. But I guess that's why they probably didn't use that scene, because by the time the Return of the Jedi showed that they decided to make Jabba the Hutt a giant slug, but whatever. And then, of course, the prequel films. Now, of course, everyone dumps on Jar Jar Binks, and I agree. He needs to be dumped on, because what can you say? The character was supposed to be the comedy relief, but they were trying too hard. Every time the guy talks, his tongue flaps out like a damn sheet in the breeze. I mean, really, dude? I mean, Jar Jar Binks reminded too much of Goofy from the damn Warner Brothers, which is kind of like almost like a precursor of what was going to happen next. And of course, the lovey-dovey stuff between Natalie Portman and that guy Christensen, I wasn't really into that at all. No, I didn't warm up to that mess. And they almost redeemed themselves, with the last film, Revenge of the Sith. And at least they generally showed us the arc of how Anakin became Darth Vader. I mean, that's one good thing you could say about the prequel films. But then old man Lucas gave up the kit and caboodle to Disney, and Disney handed over to that Kennedy woman and talking about taking a dump on his legacy. I mean, you saw The Force Rises, right? I watched it just out of curiosity. Yeah, talking about almost a shot-for-shot remake of the original film, and it wasn't even a good shot-to-shot remake. And then, of course, the next two films, my God, just totally disposable. I mean, by the time they came up with the, was it Rise of Skywalker, I didn't even watch it. My niece, she watched it. Me, I said, man, after that second, after, what was it, the episode 8? I mean, after that, I was out. I said, man, these people at Disney just messed up Lucas's legacy. Man, I just can't watch this stuff no more. It's just too painful. And then, of course, they came out with The Mandalorian, and then, of course, was it Obi-Wan? That brief prequel series supposed to have been about Obi-Wan, between A New Hope and Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. And they goofed that up, where he supposedly meets a young Princess Leia and sure he's using the Force. And I'm thinking, dude, didn't you watch the original films? Princess Leia didn't even know she had the Force until Return of the Jedi. No, sorry. Yeah, Empire Strikes Back. And even then, she wasn't really using the Force. She could just hear, remember, Luke calling her at the end of the film. Yeah. She didn't know she had the Force. Stupid. Well, guess what? They ain't finished yet. Yeah, right now, because I saw the clip on CNN, they made a big announcement. And you're saying, why am I watching CNN? Please don't get caught in the weeds, okay? I'm getting to the point. They hired some third wave feminists, not even from the United States, someone from Pakistan. And I saw her name too. I think it's Sharmarmi Obadiah Chief something or other. I mean, her name looks like something that could be a Star Wars name, but that's not why they hired her. Nope, they were sitting there saying, "Oh, we're hiring this strange rando woman, probably fell off the damn turnip truck last week, to direct our next Star Wars film, and supposedly they're gonna bring back the Rey character. They're gonna bring back the Daisy Ridley actress. I don't know about that." But they're going to make more films with the Rey character, and I'm thinking, I mean, just when I thought Iger had learned his lesson, apparently that Kennedy woman hasn't. But the announcement, they were going on and on about, oh, the first one to direct the Star Wars nonsense. And I'm thinking, yeah. But of course, I know the truth. They're not, basically, practically doing backflips over this announcement because they hired some strange woman from the other side of the world to make their movie. And according to Tim, Tim Pool, as well as Jeremy from the Quartering, he seconded. This woman, the only thing she's ever done was made a couple of woke documentaries. That's it. And I'm thinking, please make it stop. But the thing is, this is all about the ideology. They don't give it a toss if she's a woman, because there have been woman directors in the past. Like, for example, the woman who made The Hurt Locker. No, she won an Academy Award for that film, too. I can't remember her name now, but she also made Point Break. That crazy Keanu Reeves film came out in in the early '90s about a surfing FBI agent undercover trying to track down Patrick Swayze's character, who was a crazy bank robber who was going around robbing banks. Not because he needed the money, but he was robbing banks. That way he can go around the world surfing. I mean, you probably remember that crazy film Point Break. Yeah. Can't remember that damn stupid woman's name. So, and of course, she's not the only female director. Because, for example, how many people saw that film A League of Their Own? Yeah. That was directed by Penny Marshall. And you say, you mean the woman played Laverne and Laverne Shirley? Yeah, that Penny Marshall. And I saw A League of Their Own. The film was actually pretty good. It was funny. And then, of course, you have films like the Joy Luck Club. I think it was directed by Ang Lee. Yeah. I think she's Chinese. I'm not sure. But yeah, she directed that film. And I actually saw that film. It was okay. If you're in Chinese films that are not do about karate and stuff, that is. Like those Hong Kong Shaw Brothers stuff, which I'm not going to get into the weeds about. And then if you go way back in time, there was Ida Lupino. And you say, who the fuck is that? Yeah, well, strangely enough, my mom turned me on to her. Yeah, she said that Ida Lupino usually was an actress from England, and she came to the United States back, I think, in the 1930s, 1940s. And she initially was in a handful of Hollywood films, but then she said she wanted to be a director, but according to her biography, nobody really wanted to give her a break. So then she started her own production company in the 1950s, in the late 1940s, and all throughout into the 1960s, she made a series of films, mostly small little independent films. And I saw a couple of those films. And I remember it was this one film I thought was kind of sad. Then again, these films were kind of like almost, what's the cliche, women's films. So yeah, in other words, you get the idea. And I wish I could remember that thing. I can't remember the name of that film. I think it was called. I can't remember the name of it. But it was about some woman who lost her baby, and she was so out of her mind that she tried to kidnap someone else's baby, and she got in trouble. And then when she was in jail for kidnapping, she told some of the other inmates her tale of woe, and it was basically told in one gigantic flashback of how she met the wrong guy, got her pregnant, and then she gave up her kid. Like I said, it was a typical like 20th century women's film, but it was entertaining. I actually liked it. But what's going on now has nothing to do with women's issues. This has to do with woke issues. And you say, oh, that again? Yeah, that again. Because these people, Kennedy over there at Lucasfilms and some of these other knuckleheads, it's not about women. It's about the narrative, the message, the ideology. Because I'm pretty certain if I can't think of that damn woman's name that made the Hurt Locker. I'm pretty certain if she approached Kathleen Kennedy and wanted to make a Star Wars film, Kathleen Kennedy probably wouldn't necessarily ask her credentials, because I think her credentials stand for themselves. Women's been making films for like almost 30 years now. No, she'll probably want to know if the woman is going to basically adhere to the message, the ideology. And if the woman said no, Kathleen Kennedy would say, hit the road, Jack. Next. And that's what you got to understand. This female, forces female bullshit narrative they're trying to create over there at Lucasfilms has nothing to do with women, has everything to do with woke ideology. That's it. That's their alpha and omega. Women be damned. I mean, they could bring that other clown back. The guy who made what was that film, The Glass Onion? You know, that clown. Remember, he made the second Star Wars film. I mean, they could easily bring him back because they know he's into the woke messaging garbage. And he's definitely not a woman. He's a dude. So, you know, it's not about the gender of the director. It's all about the ideology. Because I bet you dimes to donuts, if this Obey Chiho, whoever she is, turned around and made like a TikTok video and put on a MAGA hat and said, I like Trump, believe me, that Kennedy woman would throw her out of that damn production so fast it'll break the sound barrier. No joke. That tells you right there that's about ideology. It has nothing to do with a woman directing a film, because they've had plenty of female directors going back years. It has all to do about, are you going to push our ideology? That's all they care about. And I'm sitting here thinking that, oh, maybe the people at Disney Central learned their lesson, but apparently they didn't. Nope, they didn't. And the saddest thing about all of this is that Star Wars was inspirational. Now, of course, some people would say, yeah, it was a sci-fi fantasy. It was sort of like Flash Gordon and whatnot. And of course, anyone who is familiar with Star Wars knows that that's why Star Wars even exists at all, because Lucas approached Dio De Laurentiis, you know, he's a famous Italian producer who owned the rights to Flash Gordon. He approached him and said, hey, can I make a Flash Gordon movie? And Dio De Laurentiis told him, you hit the road, Yankee. And then what happens? What happens? Not even 3 years after the first Star Wars films came out, Dio De Laurentiis makes a film version of, guess what? Flash Gordon. With Sam Jones, that B-movie actor. And you know what? The film was good. Especially the Queen soundtrack. I mean, if you haven't seen that film, Flash Gordon 1980, Sam Jones and Max von Sydow playing Ming the Merciless, look that film up. You will not be disappointed. The film was actually entertaining. But be it as it may, Star Wars, you know, original films, was inspirational. Indeed, it was because of Star Wars that I started writing. Yeah. And you say, boy, a second, you were a kid. Yeah, I know. But yeah, because even as a kid, I knew Groot writing when I saw it. And when I saw Star Wars, I said, yeah, this is great. This is wonderful. And I thought about it afterwards, after I saw the film. And I thought about it for a long time. I said, damn, I could probably write a story like that. And of course, I was still a kid at the time. I was a teenager, but still. And over the course of hemming and hawing and thinking and not thinking about it, and over time I said, you know what, I'm going to try to write my own stories. And I wrote a lot of stories. Most of them, I have to admit, I didn't complete, but some of them I did. And of course, if you already saw the beginning of this video, you already saw 2 of my books, which are out there right now at Amazon's and Barnes and Noble. The Glitch series, where the links are down in the description. Get it today. You believe me, you won't be disappointed. But that's not the only books I wrote. And indeed, many years ago, I started working on what I called myself my Star Wars. Did I finish it? It's nearly there. In other words, I initially had a rough draft, but then I kind of parked it on the side and kind of left it there as I worked on the Glitch series. But yeah, I went back to that, and I'm working on it right now. Cleaning it up, making sure all the I's and T's are crossed and whatnot. When you're going to see it? Well, hopefully before I die. And please don't make any George Martin jokes, okay? Because I know he writes like slower than molasses in Siberia in wintertime. I know that. But I don't write as slow as he does. Yeah, because he's still working on Game of Thrones. He ain't finished yet. And my story, which is technically a trilogy, it is technically finished. It just needs to be cleaned up. How long is it going to take? I don't know. But I'm working on it. But yeah, if it wasn't for George Lucas's original Star Wars films, I'd never been working on what I call my Star Wars. And no, my stories is not a copy and paste of his Star Wars, so don't even sit there and talk about plagiarism, okay? No, it's not like his. Mine is different. And that's all I'm going to tell you about it for now. But yeah, it makes you wonder, kids right now, like, was it Gen Alpha? When they see these woke Star Wars films, do you think they're going to sit there and applaud and say, ooh, goody goody, these films are great? Or are they going to sit there and say, I wonder what's happening on TikTok right now? Believe me, they're probably doing the latter. Because even Generation Alpha knows that these films blow. Major league garbage. And that's a shame. Because one thing that the older generation should always do is inspire the younger generation. I agree with that. Because I hope that my stories will inspire future generations to write their own books. I hope. I mean, I I can only hope. I mean, I wouldn't want my stories to get lost to history. I mean, that would be sad. But yeah, of course, I write the stories for myself primarily. But I like to say to myself, I'm doing the best job I can, writing the best story I can. And people who read the stories will think, hey, this book is pretty good. I like this guy essay. I wonder if he wrote other books. Yeah. I mean, I can only hope. And unlike this Disney Star Wars garbage, my books aren't woke. Okay, so you don't have to worry about all kinds of gender studies and critical race praxis in my books. You ain't gonna see nothing like that there, okay? Because I'm not looking to push ideology. I just want to entertain you. Just like Maximus said in Gladiator, are you not entertained? I mean, isn't that what anyone in entertainment business should be involved in? Entertainment? Instead of beating people over the head with your ideology or woke nonsense? I mean, that's probably the biggest problem with these woke Disney movies, and especially these woke Star Wars films, is that they're not making them to entertain people. They're making them to push an ideology to beat you over the head with their ideology. But you're not going to get that from my stories. No, I just want to entertain you. Or as they used to say back in the 20th century in those Chicken of the Sea commercials, which I think might be a bit for your time, and Charlie the Tuna, he was constantly trying to show how cultured and how refined he was. And the faceless announcer will always tell Charlie the Tuna, people don't want tuna with good taste. They just want tuna that tastes good. And I agree. Same thing with people in their entertainment, whether it be movies, music, or even Star Wars films. People do not want movies with a message or trying to put an ideology. They just want to be entertained. They want movies and music and TV shows that taste good. That's all people want. To go into a movie theater and turn off their mind from the problems of the world, You know, their mistresses, their unpaid mortgages, some child support payments they're not paying, and just watch a movie for about 90 minutes or 2 hours, or maybe 2 hours and 40 minutes was like, like some damn James Cameron extravaganza. Yeah, that's all they want. They just want to be entertained. I mean, is that not too hard to ask? Because believe me, if they had someone over there at Lucasfilms who followed that mantra, just entertain the audience, they wouldn't have lost over $1 billion at Disney Central making a bunch of woke bullshit. Flat out. And Iger, to his credit, knows this. So then you wonder, why can't he stop the woke crazy train ruining his company? I don't know. But who knows? Maybe Iger will quietly in the background finally put a stop to this nonsense and tell Kennedy, you're out, and tell this Shawnee, whoever she is, you're out too. No more woke bullshit. No more woke Star Wars. I mean, we can only hope. Though I'm not betting any money on it. But then who knows? Maybe when this insurgent investor that's trying to hijack Disney finally takes over, maybe he will finally clean house and get rid of all the woke garbage out of Disney. Might happen. Well, that's all I have to say about woke garbage coming out of Star Wars and Disney, and that's my opinion.